Hello there, welcome to Blitz Transmissions. I'm Tommy, and today I'm going to be sharing with you all my predictions for the Star Wars Hasbro fan stream that's happening at New York Comic-Con this weekend. If you weren't in the know, Hasbro has done away with their online Hasbro PulseCon event as well as their 1027 event, and they are instead opting to be a part of the New York Comic-Con experience by doing full reveal panels for all their different brands. So this Thursday, which as this video comes out will be tomorrow, Hasbro is doing a fan stream for both their Star Wars and Marvel brands. I've been really enjoying the consistency of these Hasbro Star Wars fan streams this year, and of course, as I've been doing all throughout the year, I'm going to share with you my predictions this time around, not just for Black Series, but also for Vintage Collection. So if you're a Vintage Collection fan, make sure to stay tuned. I will do the Black Series ones first. You guys know, you can see behind me, I'm a huge Black Series collector, so of course, we're going to start off with my predictions for Black Series reveals for this Star Wars fan stream. I'll start things off by saying that most of my picks are going to be coming from the Yakface website. Definitely go check out Yakface, probably the best resource out there for new Star Wars products for all of us toy collectors out there. Starting things off here, my first big prediction is going to be a character that's been rumored for some time now. It is going to be Kanan in his Star Wars Rebels Seasons 3 through 4 appearance, known through the community as Blind Kanan. This is of course Kanan's later appearance in the show after Darth Maul cuts his eyes out. This is a time jump that happens, and we get to see Kanan with a blinded look. Now that we have the Ezra Bridger figure from the Ahsoka series in his Rebels Seasons 3 and 4 look, I think this would be a great character to pair not just with that, but I also think that with TVC getting this entire Rebels crew, it would be really cool to start getting those characters in Black Series. I would buy all of them. Another one that's been rumored for a while is Boba Fett in his Daimyo appearance from the Book of Boba Fett. Now you may be asking yourself, don't we already have a Book of Boba Fett in the Black Series? Well, truthfully we don't. That appearance for Boba Fett is actually his Season 2 Mandalorian re-armored appearance. He does have a slightly different look below the waist in the Book of Boba Fett, featuring more of a comma as opposed to the Tusken Raider robes that kind of drape all below him, and he does have a different set of boots as well. I think it's a figure that's definitely needed in the Black Series, as he is the namesake of that show, and I think that he is a really cool figure. I think we could get some cool stuff like a gaffy stick included. I think it's also possible we could see a single-carded version of the Ronin's astromech droid, B556, and I say that just because they had the single release of the Ronin that recently came out, and with it being timely with the release of Visions Volume 3 happening at the end of this month, I could totally see them doing a Visions figure to kind of drum up some interest. Speaking of newer media, I also wouldn't be surprised if we got some new reveals from the Mandoverse and even from The Mandalorian and Grogu. A figure I really hope gets revealed would be Carson Teva. Carson Teva has proven to be a very essential character, a critical character even in the Mandalorian universe, and I think that he's a big hole now at this point, seeing him in multiple seasons of The Mandalorian and seeing him in some other projects as well. And speaking of things in the Mandoverse, for the rest of my predictions, I'm going to be moving away from educated guesses for the Black Series and going into stuff that's a little more intuitive. A figure that I would like to see, and a figure and a character that desperately needs some redemption in the Black Series, would be a new version of Morgan Elsbeth with her final Night Sister look, where she has her final duel with Ahsoka on Peridia. I feel like this would be a cool one to get. This would be mostly reuse on Hasbro's end. Hopefully they would go with a soft goods skirt piece instead of the molded plastic this time around. We could get the Blade of Talzin, as well as that Night Sister magic, and we could also get that new head sculpt for her. I feel like she's one of the only holes left in the Ahsoka line. I feel like the Ahsoka line so far has really fleshed out the show well, and I feel like this is one of the only ones that I would really want on my shelf at this point. And just a couple more picks for the Black Series. I would absolutely love to see them continue the great trend that they've been on when it comes to the prequel trilogy. I'm gonna go ahead and just pick one figure from each movie that I would like to see, and I'm going to go as far as to predict for this fan stream. We'll start with the Phantom Menace. We've gotten some really cool unique aliens recently in the line, Sebulba being one of the most notable, and I think that following that trend, it would be really cool to get a Watto figure. I feel like Watto would be a really cool addition to the Black Series line. He's a unique alien. I hope they would do some sort of hover stand for him so that he can actually be in flight instead of I would just have to have him sitting otherwise on my shelf, and I think he'd be a cool addition. Moving on to Episode 2, Attack of the Clones, we know that in 2026 for the Vintage Collection, we are going to have that Battle of Geonosis campaign going on throughout the year, and we've historically seen some synergy with a couple of the character picks for the Black Series. So my prediction for Attack of the Clones is going to be the Geonosian Warrior. I think this is a desperately needed army builder for the Black Series line, and not even just as an Attack of the Clones figure, you could also put this in with a Clone Wars display and really start to flesh out that second Battle of Geonosis as well. Hasbro always knocks it out of the park when it comes to those uniquely sculpted alien molds, just like I was saying with Watto, so I think they would really knock this one out of the park. And finally, for Episode 3, Revenge of the Sith, we have seen a ton of new Black Series Jedi from the prequel trilogy, like Shaak Ti, Luminara Unduli, and Barriss Offee. I think it would be really cool to get one of the Jedi that was part of the Palpatine arrest scene, and this would also be great synergy for the New York Comic Con exclusive Mace Windu and Darth Sidious 2-pack. I think that it would be really cool to get Jedi Master Saesee Tiin in the line. Saesee Tiin is a really cool, unique alien Jedi that showed up both in Attack of the Clones and in Revenge of the Sith, and this would offer some great reuse opportunity for that 2003 Clone Wars micro series look of Saesee Tiin, where he has that awesome clone armor in the space battle above Coruscant. Of course, as I do every single time, I'm going to throw out my wild card picks that I, don't really have any basis of thinking they're actually going to happen, but I always put them out into the ether just in case. First one being Pong Krell. He'd be huge, he'd be gigantic, he'd probably be made to order because of his size and because of all the accessories I'd want him to come with, but I think he would be a slam dunk for Black Series. And for my final one, I'm just going to go with the biggest pick, my most wanted Black Series figure, Dirge. Specifically, I'd want him to look like his Dark Horse Comics look, just because I feel like that would be easier for Hasbro to accomplish because he has much more human-like proportions and much more realistic reference material. But overall, guys, that's kind of what I'm expecting for Black Series. I don't know that I'm expecting much more, maybe some cool figures, but let's switch gears now and move to the Vintage Collection. Now, historically, I have not covered Vintage Collection predictions, as I was never really knee-deep into that community and that line. I didn't really know what to expect and what was going on. However, now, after being so involved with the TVC HasLab Republic Gunship campaign and helping that thing succeed and fund, so happy that's happening, by the way, I feel like it's my duty to stay involved in this community now, so I figured I'd include some predictions. Obviously, we'll jump right out in front and talk about the Battle of Geonosis campaign. With the Republic Gunship funding, I think it would be good for Hasbro to start rolling out some reveals to get people excited for the campaign next year. When the Republic Gunship was recently shown off in Red 5 Collectibles in the Boston, Massachusetts area, they did show off some early pipelines for some stuff that's going to be coming out for the Battle of Geonosis campaign. So I would expect one, maybe two of these three confirmations to come as a reveal in the Vintage Collection for New York Comic Con. So the first one is going to be Shaak Ti. She's branded as an Attack of the Clones release. I think it'd be really cool. This is a figure that the TVC community has been pining for a long time. I don't think there's been one since the Clone Wars animated line from like 2010. Correct me if I'm wrong, I'm still learning this community. But yeah, either way, regardless of if there was a release after that animated Clone Wars look, it's still been probably well over a decade at this point since Shaak Ti has been released in super articulated form, so I'd be really excited to see what that Shaak Ti looks like. The other single-carded figure that was pipelined was a brand new Padme Amidala in her Battle of Geonosis arena look. This is another figure that I've seen TVC fans want so badly. She's always getting talked about in the community and in conversation, so I'm really excited to see fans get this look, and I'm excited to see how they execute this one. And then you guys know me, big Clone Trooper fan. The one I'm most excited about out of these confirmations is the Phase 1 Clone Trooper multi-pack. Recently, TVC did get a single-carded Attack of the Clones Phase 1 Clone Trooper. However, this newer one coming out will have the non-removable helmet. It'll just be the one helmet, which has that nice Phase 1 helmet sculpt, a lot more proportionate to the actual character than those bobble-headed removable helmets look. Obviously, no matter what this is, a 2-pack, a 3-pack, a 4-pack, so on and so forth, I plan on buying one. However, my preference would be that this is a 6-pack or an 8-pack, because I'm gonna want to buy one pack that I can use to fill up my Republic gunship with, get a couple clones in the ball turrets, and have a nice full cargo area. Keeping with the Battle of Geonosis theme, I think it would be really cool if TVC got some sort of larger release like a vehicle. We did get a tease during the Republic gunship campaign that the gunship would be able to fit multiple vehicles inside it, and that doesn't mean multiple at the same time, just multiple kinds of vehicles in the cargo bay. So I think the one that we've seen most rumored is the Bark Speeder. I think this would be a great set to release. Maybe bring it out with a Commander Neo. I know he never showed up on Geonosis, but I feel like that'd be a great way to finally give TVC some Revenge of the Sith love in 2025 for the movie's 20th anniversary. Something big in the TVC community that seems to have been skipped over and intentionally ignored is VC number 375. So if you're not familiar with TVC, a big part of that line is that there is an ongoing VC number for the main line of figures. And a lot of fans have noticed that Hasbro seems to have skipped over VC number 375, obviously that being a very important number because the scale is a 3.75-inch action figure scale, and that is the legacy of Star Wars collecting since all the way back in 1978. I think it's very important Hasbro chooses the right character, an iconic character, to be VC number 375, and I think there's no more iconic character than a brand new C-3PO. C-3PO is a figure that is very hard to get right, both in how shiny his plating looks and with his limited articulation. However, sometimes you want to have that articulation available to you even though he doesn't move around a lot, because sometimes he does find himself sitting. And with 2025 being the year of the return to Tatooine, and we've had releases that C-3PO directly interacts with, like Luke's land speeder, I think it would make a lot of sense to bring out a new C-3PO into the line. Speaking of synergy, like I did earlier, I think it would be cool to see TVC have some synergy with some recent Black Series releases this year, one of them being the Imperial Praetorian Guard from Season 3 of The Mandalorian. TVC did recently get the Imperial Armored Commando as a deluxe release, and Moff Gideon in his Dark Trooper armor, so it would be great to get the Imperial Praetorian Guard out to help complete that little faction that we saw in The Mandalorian Season 3. Another one that I'd like to see that TVC fans have been going crazy for would be Chimere, aka the Stranger from the Acolyte. He has been a very well-received release, even pre-selling out for the Black Series earlier this year, so it'd be really cool to see TVC get something that they're really asking for. Two more predictions that I have for the vintage collection would be Tech and Wrecker from Clone Force 99. I get these from the rumor list on yakface.com, and seeing how it seems like Hasbro never wants to finish Clone Force 99 for TVC, I have to beat the dead horse. I have to throw it out there into the ether that one or both of these characters will finally be revealed at New York Comic Con. And as for a wild card pick for this vintage collection, Fanstream, I'm going to throw out there a Clone Commander Cody. I feel like since Black Series got one this year, it kind of brings up the probability that it will happen, and I would just really like to see this character be released. I can't tell you the last time that Cody has been released. I mean, he was in the way back, I think he was part of TVC 1.0. I think that's how long it's been since we've had a Commander Cody in the 3 3/4 scale. Him being an iconic part of both the Clone Wars and the Revenge of the Sith film, I feel like this would also coincide well with the new HasLab coming up. But with that, guys, I think that's going to wrap up my predictions and my pipe dreams in some cases for the Hasbro Star Wars fan stream happening at New York Comic Con. Make sure to tune in live on Blitz Transmissions on YouTube, because I and some friends will be streaming starting at 10:45 a.m. Eastern Time, and we will be sitting idly by waiting to see if some stuff maybe gets leaked before the stream actually happens, and we will be watching the stream live for live reactions and discussion afterward. If you guys want to get in on the fun, make sure to check that out and keep an eye out on my YouTube channel. Let me know what your predictions are for this upcoming Hasbro Star Wars fan stream, and we'll talk about it in the comments, or we can continue to talk about it over on my Discord server. But that's all for this video, guys. If you enjoyed and you're not yet subscribed, subscribe to Blitz Transmissions. I've got awesome Star Wars content coming out all the time. If you're an ARC Trooper in my Patreon, you would have seen this video early. If you'd like access to early content, monthly giveaways, and other awesome benefits, the link to my Patreon is in the description below. Become an ARC Trooper for just $4.99 a month. If you're a fan of the reviews I do here on YouTube, or you just want to support the YouTube channel more directly, you could also check out my YouTube channel membership, Rancor Rancor Battalion for just 99 cents a month. It gives you access to all my reviews early, as well as exclusive badges and priority replies in my comment section, and you get to vote on what I review next for the channel, just like the Patreon members do. If you'd like some Blitz Transmissions swag, you could always head over to the Blitz Transmissions Armory over on Printify. Link to that is in the description below, as well as links to my Discord and all my social media. Guys, I hope you enjoyed this review. I'll catch you for the next one, and may the Force be with you.
Breaking off. All units, fire at will. 1-2, pick a target. Too many, Captain. Watch your stabilizer, Gold 6. Anybody cover me. I got 2 vultures on my tail. You've got to hold them here. Watch your left. I can't shake them. I'm hit. I'm hit. Where's our reinforcement?